The bunch of contestants, it's such an interesting mix. How was, being around with people, there were Gen Zs also, there were, millennials also on the show, so many different minds, so many, people with so many different thought processes. How was that like?
And that is the real challenge, actually.
Okay.
The challenge is how to actually conduct yourself around people that you call Gen Zs.
Okay.
The so-called Gen Zs, I think they come from a completely different walk of life, different thought process. Not every Gen Z is wild or mad.
Yes, absolutely.
There are also Gen Zs that I have at home. Two of my kids who are very, very normal and very grounded and very subtle in life in every which way possible. But then there are Gen Zs that are so noisy, so abusive, and they're taking their clothes off at the drop of the hat, and all that you see on Instagram these days. That there are these really young girls who are out there who can abuse at the drop of the hat, who think that being abusive is the in thing, the cool thing.
Yeah. And
I think they are so misguided, misled, and they are so lost in their lives that it really hurts me, So when you are around these kind of people, then you don't know how to conduct yourself, because it becomes very difficult, because you're worried, what if they misbehave with you, right? You're worried about that. Thankfully, that didn't happen with me. It's probably because of the way I conduct myself. But I don't even know how I would react if some Gen Z would come and, use an abusive language with me. I may slap the shit out of them, right?
Okay.
Because I'm not used to it.
Absolutely.
Right? And I come from that generation where we have always respected somebody who's even 5 years older than us or 2 years older than us, right?
Absolutely.
And here you have more than 20, 30 years of difference, 20 years, 2 decades of difference, but they can get abusive with you. So you don't know how to react, And so these are challenges that I was put in, for sure. Having said that, they were okay. They were not so bad, I think maybe they were kept under control. I'm not too sure in other scenarios how they are, because if I'm honest, I don't know where they come from. I had no idea who these Gen Zs were before I came to the show, or I've shot with them. I had no clue. I had not seen their, if I may call it, work. For me, work is going in front of the camera, performing, acting for the audiences. That
Absolutely.
is what for me work is, or going and doing a show, singing and performing for the audiences, making them feel good and nice and smile, and maybe make them cry through your performances, is what work for me is. Entertainment for me is.
True, very true.
So what these Gen Zs call work or content is something I don't understand and I can't relate to. So I had not seen any of their work, and I would not want to, because it includes a lot of profanities and abuses and saying all those things that are wrong.
Absolutely.
All those things that are controversial, and it is absolutely unnecessary, because you can keep your life very simple and live a good life. But I think the mindset or the understanding of the times in these Gen Z's heads is very different, where they think that you want to have followers, millions of followers, then you do these things to get followers, right? What they don't understand is that having followers and having fans are two different things. If you do anything stupid and put it out there, you'll get hundreds of followers because they want to see stupidity, right? But they're not your fans. They're not looking up to you.
They'll be the first ones to troll you also.
They'll be the first ones to troll you, abuse you, and laugh at you also. So that is the difference these kids don't understand these days. And for me, it was a challenging situation to be amongst a few of those kids, you know, they may be very good at heart, they may be very good kids otherwise, but their approach to content is so different that somebody like me cannot relate to it.
Exactly. Also, sometimes I feel that, controlling your emotions towards a behavior that, you are witnessing and you don't completely agree to it, that becomes a big problem or challenge at times. Did that ever happen where there were strong agreements that you also had on the show with, others?
So what I did was I kept my interaction to minimum
Okay.
with the spaces or people that I thought may not trigger the right kind of emotion from me, because I'm a very principled guy.
Absolutely.
I've always been very principled. I've been very, I would say, disciplined, and I've always been very respectful towards people in general. So for me, respect is of utmost importance, right?
Absolutely.
और हिंदी में एक मुहावरा है कि आपकी अपनी इज्जत आपके अपने हाथों में होती है. I believe in that 100%. So I keep my space cordoned off,
okay,
to an extent where nobody can reach it, right? Nobody can pass through it. So that is how I maintained myself. I kept my interaction to bare minimum with people where I thought that if there are disagreements, if people get aggressive, then I don't know how I would react, because I cannot take disrespect for another person or for myself, because I don't give it. Right? So, and I believe that if you give respect, you get respect. If you don't give respect, you will never get respect, because that is nature, right? You get what you give, right?
Totally. While everything that you said about, social media, the younger generation conducting themselves, and, whether be it social media or for that matter, the show, I so agree to it, because I feel today social media has become such a dangerous space also. Like, as a parent, I think twice before opening Instagram in front of my child.
Yeah.
Because what if, a wrong kind of reel pops up on the
Which
feed?
happens all the time.
Which happens all the time. Yeah. So, while our generation knows where to draw a line, do you think that this particular generation of youngsters, they probably don't know where to draw the line?
They would not know to draw a line because they don't know the lines. Unfortunately, they don't know the boundaries. You have to know the boundaries to be able to draw lines.
Absolutely.
So when the generation, that the so-called Gen Z, doesn't know boundaries, how will they draw lines? And because they don't know boundaries, therefore all the things that you hear, that this one said this and this created this controversy, और वो इतना उसने controversial statement दे दिया, या इसने ऐसा बोल दिया, उसने वैसा बोल दिया, and how there has been so many controversies of late of various, कोई इसमें podcaster है, कोई इसमें comedy show वाला है, कोई कुछ है, and the kind of things that was said, you know that these are those people who don't know boundaries.
Absolutely.
Right? तो जब boundaries जिसको पता ही नहीं तो line कहाँ draw करेगा, right? And somewhere I feel that it's got a lot to do with the kind of background you come from and with the kind of upbringing you get. कोई कितना भी नाराज हो जाए, अगर मैं किसी को बोलूंगा तो मुझे गाली देगा. What do you think कि हम तो क्या हम अच्छे बैकग्राउंड से नहीं है, या हमारी upbringing अच्छी नहीं है. People get very aggressive, but they don't realize that by doing this, they are only proving it more.
True.
You understand? So I know that my child, for instance, my son, my older one, who's in his 20s now, I know that wherever he goes or any atmosphere that he will sit in, I can be rest assured that he will never misbehave.
Yes.
Or say anything, because I know he's always going to be extremely respectful to people, because that's what he is, and that's what he's become because of the atmosphere that he's grown up in.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's a child's mistake. It is not a Gen Z mistake. It's the mistake of the parents who
Right.
probably didn't draw a line when they were supposed to. Simple as that. It's never the Gen Z's fault. It's never the kids' fault. So yes, so they don't know the boundaries, therefore they don't know where to draw a line.